as a special government employee. Bottom line, Hillary Clinton has to answer some questions within 30 days. These are under oath, and I guess her responses are going to be written.
That's right.
Oh, please tell us about it.
Well, we had been asking her questions for some time. We asked her some questions 2 years ago under oath because of Judge Sullivan, and we also brought in some witnesses like her top aide, Yuma Abedin, and Cheryl Mills, another top official at the State Department, and top officials you don't know about, the nameless bureaucrats who enabled her. But Hillary Clinton answered a series of questions under oath. A lot of times she says, I don't recall. But there were a few questions she said I didn't want to answer because I object to them. They're outside the scope of discovery. You're not allowed to ask the questions. And the one key question she refused to ask that she said was outside the scope of discovery about her email system was, describe the creation of the Clinton email system, including who decided to create it, the date it was decided, why, who set it up, and when it became operational. So that's a basic question about why her system was set up and who was behind it. For reasons I don't understand, she said that was beyond the scope, and the judge says, no, you have to answer the question within 30 days.
The answer to that question seems crystal clear to everybody but Hillary Clinton, I guess, because it seems like it was transparently designed to circumvent government records-keeping requirements, because she would be in control of all of the data that would cross through her server, and then in the end, when they ended up turning over some amount of the data, they got to decide, her team got to decide, here's what we're giving the State Department, and then we'll just delete the rest. We don't have to turn over everything.
Well, her top aide, Yuma Abedin, testified she didn't want people reading her emails. Surprise, surprise. And I'm convinced that what was going on was that if anyone was going to read them, they'd have to go through her lawyer to do so, David Kendall, who was also at the hearing last week. You know, one of the things about the hearing is there were 8 lawyers on the other side and just Judicial Watch, one Judicial Watch attorney, and I'm sitting there as corporate representative. I'm usually pretty unhelpful just sitting there watching the events. But what was really outrageous is that we fought back, obviously, against David Kendall, Mrs. Clinton's lawyer, but you had the Justice Department attorney with her supervisor sitting there on behalf of the State Department arguing that Hillary Clinton shouldn't have to answer this additional material, these additional questions.
So the Justice Department, paid for by American taxpayers under the Trump administration, was arguing for Hillary Clinton.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right, Mary.
Wow. That's amazing to me. All right, so now let me ask you, what happens if, again, her memory fails her? You know, because she's not, there's these things happen and she's not, we're supposed to believe that she's, she doesn't mean, ill. It's just that she just doesn't remember a whole bunch of stuff, and she just keeps saying, I don't know, I didn't set it up, I have no idea why it was set up. And she just plays that card again. Is that a dead end?
No, because the judge in the end is going to evaluate her testimony and hopefully grant us the relief our lawyers decide to seek. So to say you don't remember in an incredible way, I think that the courts are going to see through that. And, it's interesting. There was another official at the State Department, her IT aide, one of the IT people at the State Department, who I think knew what was going on but did nothing.
Right.
He testified to Congress, and it looks like he may have lied. Now, we had fought with him about testifying. He testified, took the Fifth Amendment because he said he had a credible fear of prosecution, and we said that's probably not fair, given the status of the Clinton email investigation. And the court said, hold on a second. I look at the testimony. He may have lied to Congress. The prosecution for perjury, the statute of limitations, 5 years. So, yes, he's within that 5-year period, and we can't predict what's going to happen in the future, which is a useful reminder that, however unlikely, prosecutions are still possible for lying under oath in these matters.
That's why. So is this the same IT who'd actually set up the server for her? Do you know? In Chappaqua?
No, he was a State Department employee.
Oh, okay.
So he's someone who saw what was going on in the back end, at least within the State Department, it looks like.
Gotcha.
So where is the hope that this goes? I don't have any hope whatsoever of seeing anything ever happen to Hillary Clinton, her ever being held accountable. I just don't have any hope of seeing that happen. Do you see that happening coming out of any of this, or is it just going to be, people in her circle who wind up being, popped for perjury or something like that?
Well, I think there's been some rough justice. We didn't plan it this way because we didn't involve ourselves in the election, because that's not what we do. But if the American people were sitting on election jury as a grand jury, they certainly indicted. And one of the reasons she's not president, if not a key reason, is because of their shenanigans with this email scandal, with this email scheme. We'll see if there's further accountability, but that's a big question for the Justice Department. All we can do is what we can do in terms of getting the information out. But when we're facing a Justice Department defending her rather than prosecuting her, that's a challenge, and maybe there'll be a change with new leadership here.